Hey, Bishop,
Yes,
can
I
you hear
can.
me?
Can you hear me? Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
That's the enemy.
You can hear me?
Somebody didn't
I
want you
tell
on.
you.
I can
Okay,
hear
you
you.
know, look, I text the Portsmouth Police Department, tried to jam it up.
Somebody didn't want you talking tonight.
I tell you. You know, the truth be told, I don't think nobody want me talking any night.
All right now. Well, what look, how's your day
My day
been?
has been well busy, busy as ever, always doing something. My day started at 5 a.m. I was at the radio station at 6 a.m. to interview with Ed Joyner on this morning, and just running and working and doing a lot of behind the scene work. You know, folk get mad when they see you on camera or see you in the forefront, but don't realize that we do a lot. And you notice I said we, you included. We do a lot behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like being behind the scenes. Look, I saw your video. I was glad y'all videoed it because Mr. Jordan don't never video um his interviews. So I was glad I was able to catch up on what y'all was talking about this morning. So if you wanted to continue, I know you said you had some more stuff because he didn't give you much time.
Right, right. Yes.
So you want to continue what you discussed or catch people up on what you was discussing this morning with him.
Yes, you know, because it's so much happening in our city, and I remember 2 years back I met with then Chief Chapman and Vice City Manager Lavoris Pays, Deputy City Manager Jones, also City Manager Lydia Patton, and I met with them. We was talking about doing some chat and chews around the city and different things like that to engage the community and what have you. But I guess I was not reliable enough to stay loyal. One thing I want your listeners to know about me is that I'm first and foremost going to always be loyal to the people. I'm never loyal to anyone you necessarily see me in pictures with when it comes to politicians and things like that. I always try to be loyal first and foremost to the people. So just because you see me with someone today, hugged up, smiling, if I feel as though they're wronging the people, I am going to speak out against it. And that's what I had began to do. So they kind of put that on the back burner. But as you all know, this Saturday, they are having one of my signature brands, but I guess they tried to tweak it a little bit and they call it Chat and Chew and You, and they're having that this Saturday. And I want to encourage a lot of your listeners and supporters to go out to this Chat, Chew, and You, and let's ask some real questions, such as why is it that our African American police officers are catching hell under an African American police chief. Chief Green is now the chief of police, but since Chief Chapman's departure, they have had several upper leadership African American police officers reassigned. You had Officer Jenkins, who was with Internal Affairs. His job was to keep cops responsible and keep them accountable. And Officer Jenkins, who was a black man, I don't know if he's a lieutenant, so I'm saying officer, but he is a black officer who was holding police officers accountable, and the white people did not like it. Since Chief Chapman has been let go, he has been reassigned and taken off of Internal Affairs. Officer Hall, who was Chief Chapman's chief of staff, he has since been reassigned and taken down from his position. These are the questions that we need to ask this chief as well as this city manager. And don't get me wrong, I know Chief Green has a job to do. As I stated this morning, I'm not trying to cause grief for Chief Green. Maybe she should have taken the job. Maybe she should have
Right.
walked away. But however, she has bills to pay. So we need to understand that Chief Green
Mm-hmm.
is nothing more than a figurehead. Councilwoman Elizabeth Simmons, Councilman Nathan Clark, they are running our police department. You have a lot of older white police officers complaining to them who got John Rowe on board, who in turn got Lydia Patton to force Chief Chapman out of the seat. And that's why a lot of our black officers are catching hell under this new leadership.
Okay. Now, do you? and I know a lot of people are gonna want to know. And I know most of the time when you say something, you have already done
Oh
checked the
yes.
facts. So I just want you to let everybody know that you
Oh
done
yeah.
checked the facts. You know, because I don't know
Right,
if
I'm a fact checker, and listen, that's why they silence me. That you know, it's so unfair. This is why I take some.
yeah, buddy.
But no, seriously, they punish 98,000 residents because of the people's pastor, and because of me, they do not want this type of information getting out to the public because this is something that I would have spoken at a non-agenda meeting and let the public know that 5 police officers who are white that Chief Chapman terminated their employment with the city of Portsmouth has since been rehired under city manager Lydia Patton. Where does that happen at, love? What job you know employees get fired and they bring them back? And these are facts, but they're gonna hide behind this is personnel matters, so we can't discuss it. But the public still needs to ask. These are the things that we, the King Committee, needs to be asking these tough questions. How is it that these black officers, and I called 2 by name, who I have not talked to, but other officers have come to me in confidence. We have 2 officers, Jenkins, who was with Internal Affairs has since been reassigned because he was doing his job well and he was holding police officers accountable. And also Officer Hall, who was Chief Chapman's chief of staff, has since been reassigned. He's back doing patrol duties as a lieutenant.
Okay. So this is some of the things that can be brought up at the chat,
Yes,
you,
these
right?
are the things that we need to add. But you know, if Barry Randall shows up and asks these questions, they're going to shut down. That's why at our town hall meeting where we had about gun violence, Chief Green texted me the day of, after telling me that she was going to come, that she could not come. I didn't take offense to it because I knew they wasn't going to allow her to come. So, so
Okay.
yes, but we need citizens to stand up. Stop wait. See, this is what I don't understand, love. People want Barry Randall to speak out, but then they get mad with Barry Randall getting camera attention. I don't need camera attention. I need 1,000 more Barry Randalls out here speaking up against the injustices of our people.
But that should, to me, that seems like that should be the last thing we get upset
I
about,
agree
right?
with you.
The camera
Listen,
attention.
I agree with you 100%, but you know, I get it always. My motives are always being questioned by people who are doing nothing but sitting at home behind a camera on social media offering their 2 cents. We don't need social media activists. We need people that can put their feet on the ground and get down here and do the necessary things that's being done. Listen, I had a few individuals. I had and your pastor, Pastor Blunt, I want to shout him out because for years he has supported me and done a lot of things that I needed him to do in the community. So I kind of switched gears and trying to utilize other people because sometimes you don't want to see always the same faces and you're utilizing the same people. I'm trying to galvanize other pastors, other community leaders in the community so that we can come together. And I went with Pastor Meekins and we had a few pastors and we had a few community leaders and we did ride-alongs in the community so that we could see what the gun violence is really happening at. And 3 weeks ago, we had shootings that happened in Southside Garden Apartments. But the walk along that the chief initiated for the very next day, love, was to be done out Peachtree Apartments in Churchland.
Now I did see them out Swanson Home. I think it was last week.
That was last week. But what I'm saying is the day after the shootings, they went to Peachtree. As opposed to going, which is out in Churchland, which as opposed to going where the heat is. You understand what I'm saying? We need and don't get me wrong, I appreciate them being out Swanson home last week because nothing happened last week. Maybe they get the message that we have to be proactive. But what I'm saying is, if you have a
they were strong.
yeah, and if you have a heavy gun violent presence in certain communities, you need to be there. And you don't just need to be there because of the gun violence. We need you there sticking around. We need you there hanging around. We need them back in Swanson home. We need foot patrol officers. We need police officers on bicycles. If you drive through the neighborhood, love, you will see a Portsmouth police officer parked at the BP gas station. You will see a Portsmouth police officer parked at the 7-Eleven. Why can't we have these same officers parked in some of these communities so they can get to know the people? Why can't we have officers on foot patrol? We have PRHA properties that have community centers with bathrooms and air-conditioned facilities. Each officer assigned to these locations can be given a key to go into their office to refresh themselves for heat exhaustion, as well as use the restroom. But if they're walking the community, then guess what? Our people get to know them. It is a crime deterrent when you have individuals that see police out here playing basketball with the children, playing hopscotch, talking with the elderly, sitting on the porch, getting to know people. But we don't have those things happening.
No, you're right. You know, I did law enforcement, I want to say close to 16 years before I retired. So the community policing is very important. I wasn't always in Virginia. I was in Savannah, Georgia. So I learned a lot more there because we had to go to the police academy as deputies. And so community policing is great. Plus, they start to trust you more. And, you know, you want to solve some crimes, let them know that you care.
Right.
And they're going to care enough to let you know what's going on. You know, and the only way they know that you care if you know them by name.
Right.
Or they know you by name, or they recognize you. I mean, that's important. It works. I know it works. I mean, I ain't done that stuff in a few years now, but it does work. And plus, you, like you said, you got to go into the communities where where the crime
right
is.
And listen, when these
you got to go
right, and when these people see that you care enough to come to their house and drink from their faucet, that's a trust factor, because you and I both know we're not drinking from everybody's house. We're not eating from everybody's house. And I'm not saying these officers need to go there and have dinner, but when you can go to these communities and someone offer you a glass of water or a glass of tea, a glass of lemonade, and you accept it and you sit there, you have a conversation, that develops a relationship. And that's why people are asking me, well, why do you have the sheriff out there? Why you have the sheriff? We have to work with who we can work with. We listen, like I said in the beginning, you have Nathan Clark and Elizabeth Simmons, who is the chief of police right now. So we have to work with a sheriff who only has to answer to the people. He doesn't have to answer to a city manager. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to get caught up into the political shenanigans that we get caught up in.
And I agree, but now I gotta disagree with you now. I ain't drinking no lemonade and all that stuff, but I will. I'll chew the fat with you all day.
But you know what I'm saying, though. I agree. But after a while, once relationships are developed and there's a trust relationship going on between officer and the elderly in the community and the people in the community, then, you know, you will relax down your guard and eventually take a glass of lemonade. You know what I mean? Yeah. But my point is, people want to know, do you care? You know, do you care enough to come and check on me? Do you care enough to come and see how I'm living, as opposed to you knocking on my door asking me to tell you who shot up Pookie and Ray Ray?
Right. That's right. People, what they say, people don't care about what you know until they know that you care, and it's so true.
Right.
It's so true. They don't want you just coming there. I mean, unfortunately, it's not normal policing anymore. You can't just come there and be the police and this and that. These people we don't trust them.
And the reason why we don't trust them, because look at what's happening around the country. At this juncture in our life, love, if something happens, if you and I are out hanging out and something is happening between Black people, we have to think twice before we even call the police, because there are instances to where the police is called for help and they come and actually kill people. So that is why our people in our community don't trust the police. But as Sheriff Michael Moore said a week or so ago, we can't arrest our way out of the problems that we have. We have to be, as you were just talking about, community
Right.
policing. We have to be strategic. We have to think outside the box. And this is what causes me grief with Mayor Rowe and Lydia Patton. It shouldn't have anything to do with our political agendas, affiliation. Some departments should be offline. And what I mean by that is the police department should never be made to choose a side, regardless of whether we're for John Rowe or whoever the mayor is or the majority is. They should not be using our police department as pawns. We should not have the old goody boy network still in cahoots working through our city manager, who is the top boss of the city. They're the problem that we are having in our community. When you have a black police chief that is complaining about racism, and then you have a new chief comes in and says, hey, I don't have the problem, or I haven't seen the problem that she's talking about, but yet under this leadership, the black officers are being reassigned. That's a problem.
I'm not going to point any fingers or anything, but that I don't know. I don't understand that comment. When I read it, or I don't know if I read it or heard it, I couldn't believe it really, because it's everywhere. It was there when I was well, I wasn't in Portsmouth, but it was where I was, not just here in Virginia. It was in Savannah, Georgia. It was everywhere. It was in the military. I don't understand how you don't see it. I can understand when you say you don't see it to be a massive issue, but to say you don't see it, that kind of like took something out of me, because the trust factor is what we're chasing for. And you came up and made that, that blatant statement. So, I mean, I don't know, but I wish her well. And I told you before, we got to pray for her.
Right. And I want to encourage our community, especially, but the community at large, to have patience. The reality is this. Our goal is we have to vote for people that have our interests. They don't have to be our color, but they do have to serve our interests. And if they serve our interests, that's how we make change. Right. That's how we make change.
Yeah, and speaking of, I just pulled this out.
Yes, I got one today. Yes, I just pulled it out. I hope you don't mind me shouting out Don Scott. And I also hope you don't mind me shouting out Cynthia Morrison. And let me tell you this. This is also something that was brought to my attention. Senator Lucas.
I know she's
Senator Lucas is a shoe-in. She is a shoe-in.
I know, but we got to
Yes, we do. Vote.
Still vote for her,
Senator Lucas. She is a shoe-in, but vote for her. But listen, let me tell you all something else now before, because I know once this video goes off, because one thing you got to also know, I don't know if Slim knows this or you know this, but I want to tell y'all, people are slick. When you go live, they won't watch your live because they don't want you to see them watching. They wait for you to finish the live, and then they go back and watch it later, so you won't know. So we have about 1,500 people that can't wait for this live to end so they can watch it. But let me tell you all this.
You better. What? We gonna go viral. We gonna go viral, Bishop.
When you wait till tomorrow morning, you gonna text me and say, "Bear, it was over 1,500 views, 2,000." Watch what I tell you. But listen, even with this race with Cynthia Morrison, there's some tricky stuff going on in the race with Cynthia Morrison. I was told, because I want to be careful how I say this, because I don't need nobody calling me saying I'm lying on them. If it's a lie, it was told to me.
Okay.
But the goal, to get rid of Cynthia Morrison is because you have 3 black candidates in the race. One candidate's job is to get 12,000 white people to back them. And what I was told is that the other black candidate's job is to take 4,000 votes from the black community, which leaves Cynthia with maybe 10,000 votes, which causes her to lose the election. All I'm going to say to that is, I pray to God there's no truth to that. I pray to God that all 3 young ladies are walking, the 2 young ladies along with Cynthia Morrison, are walking in integrity and running the race to actually win. and not in the race to make Cynthia lose.
Mm-hmm.
That is my prayer.
Well, one thing I can say, I don't know anyone but Miss Cynthia, and I know that she knows her job. And one thing about me with my military background, and my law enforcement background, I respect those who learn their job, who know their job, and I can't vote for anybody else but her because I know that she
Right.
knows her job. And if there's anything you need to know and she doesn't know, she goes out and finds it for you. So I am comfortable with her doing a good job in as city, circuit court,
Right.
clerk of court. So not saying nobody should
Right.
do the job, but I'm like, if it ain't broke, fix it.
And,
That's
and
just
I
how I
and I want
feel,
to echo
you
that
know.
because I think the other contenders that are running against her are great women in their own right. But I agree with you 100%. That is why I even stand, and I shared this with some of our leadership. That we need to make sure that we stick behind who we are already pleased with. Like, for example, I don't feel like we should have to vet Cynthia Morrison because we're pleased with the job that she's done. There's no need of betraying her trust when she has not betrayed the trust of her community. So with her slogan, let's continue to progress,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Let's continue to progress. Let's not give voice or ear to anyone else but our candidate. And that's why I'm going to support her, not because I think she's better than, I think that she is doing a wonderful job. And as you said, if it's not broke, don't
Right.
fix it.
Yes. I mean, that's just what I believe. So I'm behind her. I'm gonna support her, and but I'm not knocking
Right.
anybody else. It's just who I choose because I always believe you vote for those who vote for you.
That's right.
You
And
keep
and
those
those
who
that don't switch and those
those
that don't
who
switch up
from
on
you.
you. Right.
Yeah, and Miss Cynthia, I have not seen her do anything for one person that she wouldn't do for
Right.
another. She served all
Right.
people.
Right.
All people, and I've seen that, and I respect her for that. So it's not like it's red or blue, black or white, yellow, purple with her. She serves all people.
And,
Okay, so
and I'm glad you
I have
said
to
that
stick
because
with
that,
what I know.
that brings up something I want to share also and talk to you about our city manager. This is not a personal attack from no one. The reality is, listen to what you just said, love, in reference to Cynthia Morrison. She doesn't switch up. She serves all people. We have a city manager that switches like the weather. She goes with the majority of the force. Some place you have to have an integrity piece that says, I can't do this. I can't stand out at IC Norcom and volunteer my time coaching those children who are predominantly African American and not support them financially on the whole with the schools. We have a city manager who have fought hard about giving to our school division. And that's why it baffles me that there is no school board member that can actually stand with this lady because you know for a 100% fact. I don't care who you may disagree. We can disagree with Senator Lucas. We can disagree with Costello B. Williams. We can disagree with John Rowe. We can disagree with whomever. My point that I'm making is let's look at the facts. Let's take the personality out of the piece and let's deal with the facts. And we know for a fact that John Rowe, Lydia Patton, Elizabeth Simmons, Bill Moody, Nathan Clark does not support public education. That's a fact. That's not an opinion.
We Well, I don't, before I even knew who Mr. Rowe is, or the Mayor Rowe, I don't want to disrespect. Before I even knew who he was, I had already did a little research and realized that he wasn't for school, for the
Right.
education. I mean, so it didn't surprise me at all. That was my take on it. He may say beg to differ, but my take was he wasn't for education, so it didn't surprise me at all. But by me having, you know, children in post-public school, that's really adamant for me to make sure that the person that are making decisions, the people making decisions, make decisions for me, what's best for me and mine, and then of course everybody else that is going to benefit. But when it's
Right.
personal, because this thing is personal, you know that's how I make my decisions. Now when it comes to the city manager, let me tell you this. I respect her. I don't want anybody to say, you know, anything different. I respect her. I see her, I hug her and everything. I do understand her mentality because, like you said, she changes with, you know, and whatnot. And I understand that. Don't say I agree with it, but I understand it. But if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't work for me, we have to do what we have to do to
Right.
change it.
Right.
You know, we have to do what we
Right.
have to do to change it. And that's why I tell people to vote for who votes
Right.
for you. You research, you listen to the comments. We on social media so much. Read the comments that they make. Because when they at the top of their 4 years, they said a lot of stuff. And you know, even with Miss City, I couldn't even believe how we just ignored that thug comment. I could not believe it. That thug comment should have been, it. We should have been.
Let's deal with that piece, because I noticed dealing in our community, and it's public information. So, you know, it hurts me when people say, well, Barry Randall is privileged to certain information. That's not true. The numbers are public information if you look at the voter registration. Now, as much, and I don't want to be a hypocrite, I was 100% for Mark Whitaker running. 100%. I don't want to act like I wanted him to wait. I wanted him to run. I was overzealous. I was angry with what they were doing to him. I wanted him to run. But let's look at the numbers. Councilman Mark Whitaker, Dr. Whitaker, lost with a little over 8,000 votes. Bill Moody got on council with 12,000 votes. Kathy Revelle lost with 10,000 votes. Pamela Phillips lost with 5,000 votes. Mark Godalda Ostrowski lost with almost 7,000 votes. So let's add it up, love. Had Councilman Mark Whitaker not ran at all, the people that subscribe to his thinking, 8,000, would not have voted for Bill Moody. So if 8,000 votes would have went to Pam Phillips, she would have had 13,000. If 8,000 votes would have went to Kathy Revelle, she would have had 18,000. If 8,000 votes would have went to Mark G, he would have had 8 and 7 is 15. So Bill Moody would not have won the election. He would have been kicked off. And that is why I'm so adamant, and I'm hoping that our leaders from the King Committee is watching tonight and our community is watching. Let's stop giving up one seat. Let's stop with the mentality of let's take this and we'll let them fight over one. We have the ability to take all 3 seats. John Rowe, Elizabeth Simmons, and Nathan Clark. Go behind me, call me a liar, but before you do, check the record. Bill Moody would have lost the election if Mark Whitaker had not ran, because the 8,000 subscribers and voters that love Mark Whitaker would not have voted for Councilman Whitaker, and those 8,000 votes would have went to the other candidate, and Bill Moody would have been kicked off.
We pray that's how it would have went. But I'm gonna tell you something, Bishop. Let me be honest with you. I like Dr. Whitaker, and if he ran
I'm with you. I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to root for him, but I'm just looking at the after fact. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at the after fact. I'm looking at the after. Trust me, that's why I wanted to make it clear before I made that statement that I was pushing him to run. I would have never told him not to run. You understand what I'm saying? Even when we had some people saying, well, maybe he shouldn't run, I was one of the ones saying, no, he need to run. But looking at it, I just know those 8,000 voters would not have voted for Bill Moody. So you're right. The reason why the thug mentality got him in still, because the 12,000 voters were white people that feel the way he feels.
One thing we have to remember, you know, we cannot sit down and let our strong leaders be silenced. Okay? And that is what I consider Dr. Whitaker. We all have our flaws. We all have our flaws. We always going to have something that somebody don't approve of. But one thing I can say, he was a straight shooter, and he kept you informed. And that's what you want, somebody that's going to keep you informed, not somebody that's going to pull the wool over your eyes or sit there and say, we can't discuss it. Oh, my goodness. Why do we have the meetings, or why do you allow people to talk if you can't discuss it? I mean,
how do you work for us
It's
Yeah,
just
how do you
worthless.
work for us if you can't tell us? That is like if you own your business. That is like Pastor Blunt coming into church asking you a question and you tell him you can't give him an answer because you're not privy to, and he's the
Right.
pastor. The politicians work for us, the people. We hired them with our vote. So when they start telling us they can't talk to us, that's a form of disrespect because they work for us. So you
Mhm.
would never go into
I,
McDonald's and tell the
yeah,
manager that you, as an employee, and all you do is cook the food, that you can't give them an answer. It doesn't work that way because then you will be fired. So that's why I'm
because
asking you
I
all to
look at
fire
it
them.
as, yeah, it's like you done put yourself on a
Yeah,
pedestal
their
now.
king
You
is a
know,
monarchy. Is a monarchy.
you can't,
Is a monarchy. He's the
yeah.
king.
I mean, this is just what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. And then you,
You come to us, you ask for our vote, then you don't want to answer
right.
our questions. You want to hide behind these laws that can be
Yeah,
maneuvered.
right,
You know, yeah, you have these laws, but it's some things you
right.
can say. But you want to say we can't discuss it. Okay, no problem. Listen, people, y'all better pay attention because I
Yeah,
sure am.
yeah,
I
yeah.
sure am. Since we can't discuss it, we need to find people who are willing to
Listen,
discuss it.
our videos from the city council meeting were viewed 10 days in a row to over 45,000 people, if not more. People in Norfolk suffered. The council members there, they were all watching our council meetings. You don't. If let's be honest, love, we can't even really tell you who are all the council members in the other cities. You wouldn't even know them if they told us because it, I think Portsmouth is the happening spot. And they know this, and they know people are paying attention. They know people are tuning in, and these individuals ran off for
Now, of course,
transparency. Remember, with the people for Portsmouth, they running off for transparency, and now they don't want to be transparent. That's enough to say, hey, you don't deserve my vote.
mm, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
they ran off of transparency.
Yeah, and we just have to. Just have, if we can advise people and get them to see for
Yes,
themselves. See, that's the thing. You have to see and absorb it for yourself. Me telling you is just like your mama telling you. And we don't like to listen to
right,
our mama. You know, my child don't like to listen to me. I'm the mama. But if you can see it for yourself, if you go on and watch the city council meetings and see how they voting and see who is benefiting, you see for yourself, and then you can make your decision.
right, right.
The MLK Junior Leadership Steering Committee gonna help you,
Yeah.
but you can see for yourself what's going on.
What's
And that's with both the city council and school board.
Right, I agree, and that's a lesson learned, and I hope that you invite me back next week, so we can talk about that. I want to talk about some things, and I want to be respectful about how I talk about it, but I want to talk about some things from the former election and what have you, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a lot of listeners saying, "Okay, Barry Randall, he talking all that now, but won't he hooked up with John Rowe? I saw the pictures, did that." But listen, I gave the man a chance, and the man was a complete letdown. He was a complete lie. And I'm very disappointed because I did not look at his skin color. I looked at his heart at the time that he showed me, and I said, let's go forward. Because a lot of people will say love, and this that goes back to people not counting. People say to me all the time, and at one point I used to spew the numbers out that I knew them so well. But at one point the Lord told me, don't worry about it, because every battle is not yours to fight. But you have people say, oh, y'all split the vote to make Kenny lose. No, we didn't. If you add it up, Barry Randall got 1,500 votes. The Kentucky Fried Chicken man, he got 500 votes. Stuart Vint, he got 800 votes. Shannon Glover, 5,000 votes. If you add up our votes, Shannon, myself, and what have you, and add them to Kenny Wright, 12,000, it still was not 21,000. John Rowe won with 21,000 votes. So if all of us would have got out of the race, Kenny could have only got 20,000.
We were divided.
I'm sorry?
But we were divided. We were
Right,
divided. We as a community
right.
were
And
truly
I
divided.
yeah.
You know. And think about
Right, I agree with that, but I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know, people
we
that
didn't think
don't want to understand the in depth of the division that you was talking about, but it had nothing to do with the votes. And like I said, let's share that on a show so we can just talk about all of just that because it's so much. Because a lot of people were hurt. I was hurt. I
about how you came back to the dark side.
look,
How you came back to my
I was
parents.
told, look, I was told that my name was Brad. They told me, they said, when did Brad come back over? But
Look, I think that was during the time me and you fell out.
yeah, yes,
I don't
yes,
know, but we fell out. But like and that's a perfect way to sum this up too as well. You have to have a spirit of forgiveness.
yes,
You can't hold on to the past, and you cannot let that deter you from making the right decision.
right,
You may be upset with something, but you may not like something about them, but they might be the right person for the position. And just because a person don't smile at you and don't sugarcoat what they say, doesn't mean they won't do a good job for you. And a lot of that came into play with the last couple of elections that we had with some of the candidates. And I, for one, I like Kenny Wright. I love his persona because, like I said, that military background, that no nonsense, that even stubbornness, because I'm a little stubborn, but I can deal with all the good and the bad. I can deal with that because if he's voting for what's best for me and my kids, you know what I'm saying? You got to be personal. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love working for the community, but if he's voting for what's best for my family, I can deal with the bad part. I can deal with slamming the door at on the real
right. And you're right.
I can deal with all that.
Yeah, and it comes with growth. We grow. You know what I mean? I wish I'd have known a lot of stuff then that I know now. Like now, I don't have to like you to vote for you. I don't have to like you. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't know that then. And I don't mind giving credit where credit is due. Costello B. Williams helped me with that. I don't have to, I now recognize that I don't have to be your friend to support you. You know what I mean? Like we may not like each other personally, but if you vote our interest, you're good for our community. I didn't know that then, but I know that now.
Yeah.
And it is a part of growth,
Yeah.
is a part of building, is a part of trust. And at this point, I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure that I stay loyal to the people and make sure that I don't allow, because listen to me, it would have been a tragedy for me to stay silent and not speak up when I see what they're doing. And I spoke hard against Kenny Wright, and he didn't do half of what they're doing. These jokers are pure evil. These jokers don't care nothing about your livelihood. And I didn't know that then, but I know it now. And Kenny, if you watching it, how you doing, sir?
And vice versa. Vice versa. You can't vote for your friends just because of your friends. You need to know that they're going to do what's right. Yes.
Right.
He left already. Oh, I don't know, dear. You try calling him. Okay. Yeah, you can't vote for your friends just because they're your friends, because that doesn't mean they're going to do the good job.
I learned that lesson the hard way. I learned that lesson the hard way. Because with some of the friends I got who need enemies, Lord help me, Jesus. Listen, I have enjoyed this time with you, love. We must do it again. We must cut up. And don't forget, we got to go get our feet done together, okay? Can we go next week? We got to go get a pedicure.
We got to walk first.
Oh, okay, well, let's walk. Well, hold on. Let's eat, then walk, then go get the feet done, okay? Can we do it in that order?
Wait a minute. No, we can't do it that way. We got to walk. We got to walk, eat, and then the feet.
No, eat first. That way we walk.
Out.
No, we eat first. That way we walk off what we eat. Okay? We're going to eat first.
Okay.
We're going to eat first.
We're going to mess around. We're going to
We're gonna eat, walk, then go get a petty. All right.
So the next time we speak, yeah, we'll
Okay.
do it. The next time we come on, we're gonna discuss just some past
Yes,
controversies, and
2016.
you get a chance to to address that, and talk to the people you want to talk to, apologize, or however you want to do it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We just have used that as a platform. So you ain't made no enemies
Right.
yet. I say yet. So I'll just be less listening to you and ad
That's
libbing.
right. Well, folk gonna say, well,
All right.
why she had him up there? Because it's all love. Listen, y'all continue to listen to the love spot, to our girl Annette Love. We're gonna have a wonderful time. Y'all get out and vote. Senator Lucas, I remember that time. Don Scott and Cynthia Morrison. All right.
Oh, you know what? Now we already know Senator Lucas. We already know she
Right.
bad. But let me tell y'all about Dawn. Dawn is so supportive.
Yeah.
Y'all just don't know. Sometimes it's just a little thing where you can pick up the phone and call him and ask him for advice or ask him for his opinion on something, and he doesn't act like you on the clock or you on his time, and he just try to help you as much as he can. That's the type of person you want out there working for you, because that means he cares. So I just wanted to put that plug in, because he's a great person.
Don.
And then he's real, down to earth.
Don Scott, Cynthia Morrison, and Alice Sprinkle is helping me with my custody right now. And I hope I don't get in trouble, but they ain't asked me for a dime. And please don't ask me now because I ain't got no money. But they've been helping. When I tell you, and I'm calling like I've been paying big money, love. I be ringing their phones and calling them like I didn't put money on a retainer. So trust me, I know exactly what you mean when you say how he helps and how they help. We just got some good people in this community. We just got to sit together, rise above the mess, learn when to play hee ha ha, but learn when to handle our business. And at all times, do what the Bible say and defend the poor and the disenfranchised. I love you, sis. Thank you for having me. And pray my strength.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you next week. Look, if don't nobody else want to talk to me because they ought to talk to you, me and you will do this again, same time, same station.
Yes. All right.
All right. Good night now. What's going on in our community you can advertise on the Love Spot radio station Saturdays 11 o'clock a.m. You can call me for prices at 966-2006, that's 757 area code, or you can email me at iam@divine.lovingme.org. Okay? Y'all can hit me up on Facebook too. So we can work some things out. If you want to advertise for your business, all you gotta do is hit me up and I'll put you in. My fees are pretty reasonable, so let's work together. God bless you. Good night. I'm trying to get out for this, y'all.